Okay, what we're doing today is we're going to install SUSE Linux. This machine's got problems anyway. I just replaced the RAM in it. I can't replace the real-time clock. I can, but I don't feel like taking it out. Putting an $80 real-time clock on, I can replace. I'm going to change my source. Ignore this part. I've got a SUSE DVD in here. I'll just pick hard disk because I happen to have a flash drive plugged into the back. And that's a lot quicker than DVD, and I just don't want this to drag out. So ignore me pressing the source and changing it to hard disk. Normally you just run the whole thing right off the DVD or your flash drive, and they have instructions on www.opensuse.org as to how to burn a DVD if you're too stupid to do that. But a lot of you guys are coming from Windows because XP no longer has support. Nobody liked Vista and 7 and 8 and 8.1 and Server 2012. Yeah, they've got so many holes in the operating system, you might as well be walking into a whorehouse without a condom. Pretty much if you're running anything Windows, you're being a complete dickhead to the rest of the internet, even if you don't realize that your machine's infected. It probably is. Linux, regardless of distro, doesn't have those problems except for like Ubuntu, the cloud-enabled distros. Yeah, I mean, every time you open a hole, it's like opening a door and saying, hey, come on in, get me. It's like putting a sign in your yard saying, I'm unarmed. Come jack my house, burglarize me. People don't like me saying that about Windows. Tough shit, it's the truth. By the way, I've realized that my phone number is right on my Google Plus and my YouTube and my Facebook and all that shit, but if y'all call me, it better be about motorcycles or pussy, because I hate computer people with a passion. The only reason I'm showing people how to do this is because it'll cut down on the number of people that are infected out there. And if somebody's migrating from XP to Linux, hey, it's all still point at the pretty pictures and click. And when I say I hate computer people with a passion, I mean I hate fucking talking to ID10T errors. Yeah, you have to explain for 2 hours. Yeah, well, you go into Anaconda and you pick the programs you want, and if the resolver says there's a problem, you just figure out what the problem is, and, you know, I hate fucking idiots. You gotta spend 20 minutes telling them how to change their desktop resolution. Fucking... Love it when people are self-sufficient and able to read, solve their own problems, but god damn, I hate some of the idiots that have called me in the past. I'm not going to add the online repositories, but if you're on a wired connection, that's probably a good thing to do. I'm just not doing it right now because for the purposes of this video it would take too long. And that hardware clock set to UTC, I'm turning that off. Yeah. I prefer KDE if you need something that looks like a Mac, hit Genome. That kind of looks like a Mac or OS X or Solaris kind of thing. KDE, yeah, it kind of looks like Windows. Oops, back. I don't want a separate home partition. I forgot I clicked twice there when I should have clicked once. And I'm just going to let it format it. Normally, if you're on a Windows box, I would just go to Create Partition Setup. I would go to pick the drive that I wanted it on. We know that this top one is really my USB Kingston Data Traveler, which is where my installation files are coming from. And just go use entire hard disk. Hopefully you've got all your pictures and documents and pornos backed up before you do this. You know, put just those on a flash drive, just what you want to keep. before you start a Linux install, or any operating install for that matter. Next, if you can't find a flash drive, you know, they make these portable hard drives. They're relatively cheap. Let me type in some bullshit here. And on this one, make sure that you check that receive system mail, otherwise the average person would have a problem configuring their mail client later on. And it's going to tell me that fuck the NSA is a dictionary-based password. I'm just going to tell it, fuck you, I'm going to use it anyway. Now at this point, I generally don't change the software unless I have a something task specific. Boom, install. Boom, install. And it won't even be lighting up the DVD very much from this point on. It'll be reading it mostly from the USB drive. Boom. And this doesn't take very long either this way. It takes about, yeah, on this machine it would probably take a half hour, 45 minutes to do it from DVD. Should take about, yeah, at the most 15-20 minutes to do it from flash drive like this. I've got a wired connection here. I could have done the network install and been a little bit faster than this even, but I'm just not willing to go through those hassles at the moment. And I do kind of feel that it's better to download the DVD and do the install, because if your internet connection gets disrupted while you're downloading, that's a bad thing. And I click it over to details just because I like watching the shit fly by. If you're wondering why Linux and BSD, Unix, and the free softwares, the free operating systems haven't caught on, it's primarily because Microsoft and Apple have the advertising dollars behind them, where this is developed by everybody in the damn world. And the beautiful thing is unlike Windows free software, there's no adware, no spyware, no Trojans or anything in this crap. Which I consider to be a wonderful and beautiful thing. And other than I have to patch open SSL after the install because my both of my installer images are pre-Heartbleed, which Heartbleed turned out to be former Microsoft executive was part of the OpenSSL project. Go figure. Right as XP was hitting its end of service life, that shit got famous because I guess Microsoft wanted people to spend a couple $100 on Windows and having people install it instead of putting on a actually secure operating system. And Heartbleed, yes, I know it's been around for a few years, more than the 2 years that the NSA knew about. But at least it's been patched. And that's the first thing I do after I'm done with an install is I go into Yest and do a system update. Or sometimes I use Zipper, but we're not discussing those. We're just doing a raw install here just to give you an idea. It's not that hard to do. You don't have to pay somebody to do what you can do for free. And reliability wise, I've got a SUSE 9.1 box that still has 0 infection, 0 spyware, 0 Trojans, and it's been, other than shutting down to change fans and stuff like that, you know, hardware issues, that machine has been up continuously for approaching 10 years. Over 9. It's approaching 10. And yes, I realize I could have upgraded it long ago, but there's no point. For what it does it well, and it's pretty task specific. All it does is host a simple database. Well, not really simple. Fucking thing encompasses more than a terabyte. I won't say how much, but several terabytes. And that's another issue too. Multi-processor machines like this one, Windows only supports 2 CPUs, and in fact their home versions generally only support 1 CPU socket, whereas that one's got, where's that? That's the old G2. That's got 4 sockets in it. And Microsoft is, for some reason, you used to be able to buy an enterprise version of Windows Server and have as many CPU sockets as you want. Well, with Server 2012, they've changed the licensing where it's per 2 CPUs, so instead of spending $1,500 for a copy of Enterprise Server 2012, you've got to spend $3,000, which on a machine like that, it's really not worth it to spend $3,000 to license a machine that, I mean, what would I sell it for? Maybe $2,000? Yeah, that doesn't make much sense. Even on a brand new machine, it doesn't make much sense. And yes, I know how to fool Microsoft operating systems. I can get 8.1. I've got 8.1 running on a 16 processor server over there, but and it's recognizing and using every core in every CPU. But that was just an experiment to see if I could. It wasn't. I don't actually intend to sell the machine or anything like that. I was just fucking around to see if I could. And that's 8.1 on that machine. But out of the box, it would only support 2 CPU sockets, and that was 24 cores, because those are every processor in that machine is 12 cores. Look at how quick this shit goes through. And this is actually a pretty pussy machine. It's got a pair of Opteron 252 dual cores and 8 gigs of RAM. It's not no ass monster machine. It, yeah, granted, it'll dust the fastest thing you can pick up at Best Buy, but it's only got a gig video card, a 1 gig video card, some ATI piece of shit Asus thing. It's not it's not a rocket by any means. It's good for, I don't know, it's not really good for video games. It's good for whacking it to internet porn, I guess. I just had to data wipe the machine anyway, and I didn't feel like putting a SCSI controller in there, and I figured I could do somebody some good just going on ahead and showing you, hey, Linux is not a problem to install, and I picked one of the easiest distros in the world. The average, if you can't install it yourself after watching this video, get your neighbor's 10-year-old. They probably can. They probably don't even need to watch this video to do it for you. Oh yes, and Mayor Bloomberg, I like my small soda here. Ice cold. What is that? That's yeah, that's 33.8 fluid ounces. Good thing I don't live in New York. Fucking commie bastard. If I feel like drinking a 2-liter, that's my business, not the government's. I feel like walking out in my yard and picking one of them mangoes off the tree and eating that son of a bitch, doing nothing but rinsing it off with a garden hose and peeling back the skin and eating that son of a bitch. Hey, that's organic shit. I should be able to do that. That's my God-given right. It's not the government's place to tell people what to eat or drink or how much. And yeah, I broke that soda out on purpose. And if you think I'm one of these right-wing nut jobs that gets a hard on listening to Sarah Palin and Judge Jeanine, yeah. Even though I'm not really right-wing, I'm Constitutional Party. I do like what they stand for. And if I'm running out of senseless babble to throw in, hey, that's a good thing because we're down to 25 packages already. Like I said, this shit goes quick when you're doing it off of a flash drive. And I could have made it go quicker, but I would have had to have put in passwords for my HTTP proxy, which I'd rather not do on camera. Like I say, I don't want to go through all them hassles for a damn YouTube video. Boom, boom. Okay. If everything's right in the world, I should be rebooting right into SUSE Linux. It'll finish a couple of scripts and I'll be able to go on the internet and whack it to internet porn. Actually, just kidding. This machine's going in the trash, but I'll stick the drive up there on the shelf because 15,000 RPM SCSI drive isn't, even though it's only 143 gig, it's still not a very cheap drive. I haven't ejected my DVD yet, so there's a couple extra seconds I wasted on that boot from hard disk. Open Susie. I hate waiting on that stupid bootloader menu. I know it's going to load them off the flash drive, but the initial config takes a second. And this is part of the install, really, truly. Oh, come on, hurry up. Now it's loading the operating system finally. Boom! She be done. Close that out because I don't need to read that shit. I've seen it a million times. Okay. Let's eject the DVD. There we go. Let's pull out my flash drive. There we go. I should be able to already surf my internet porn. Damn, there I am. Alright. And never trust the default page. Doesn't matter if you type in beer.com or any damn thing you want. And I did that wrong. This mouse has a problem with its clicker. Okay, so I can get to my favorite site. That's all I'm worried about. And as far as applications go, whereas with Windows you've got to buy all kind of Office programs and shit like that, well, you go under Applications here and just go to Office. Boom, everything's there. And it will read and write Microshit Office compatible and Word compatible and a million other formats that Microshit never dreamed of. My last step, I do a leave, I pick shutdown, I do a full turn off. Power it back on, make sure everything still works without the installers plugged in. If it does, I call it good, and basically from this point I just go to the updates, blah blah blah, you know how that goes. Shows up as 8 gigs there and shuts down to 6.9 gigs. That's because I've got 512 reserved for video cache, and I've got you know, your base 384 that you always lose anyway. And you get that little memory hold at 4 gigs too. Those are hardware defaults, you can't get around those, and the sun's nice enough to countermanipulate it for you. And I shouldn't get the drive cache message this time. It should have detected that I'm got an onboard SCSI controller. No, it didn't. So that means that I've got to update the driver for that, which will happen automatically first time I go into YAST and hit updates. Actually, I think the KDE little updater that uses Zipper as its back end should do it for me. I shouldn't even have to hassle with nothing. And there's like 7,000 programs available for this shit for free. You can do a lot more for free on Linux than you can on Windows, and you don't get all the adware, spyware, nagware. You don't risk viruses and Trojans and shit like that. So, anyway, hope I helped somebody out with this. If not, I hope I made somebody laugh with one of my stupid jokes. And if not, if I offended anyone, fuck you. We'll holler at y'all later.